Please remember that you can pause the video at any time when you need to, or go back and rewind whenever you need to rehear something. Cold read assessment number 6. New friends and new places. Ryan looked out the window. He was riding in his dad's old beat-up VW Beetle. The window on the passenger side wouldn't roll down, so he had to choose whether to sit in the front with a non-working window or in the back by himself. He chose the spot by the non-working window. It was hot that September afternoon. Ryan wished he had sat in the back seat. Ryan's mother had died the year before in a car accident. Since that day, Dad didn't talk much. He was always there, but he seemed distant now. To make matters worse, Dad had lost his job. The factory where he worked had shut down. Now the old VW Beetle rolled into the small town in the Texas Panhandle. They drove down the street. Ryan could see a Dairy Queen building. The building needed paint on the outside. He spotted a tower. The name of the tower was peeling from the water tank high in the air. I'll probably never make friends here, Ryan thought. Ryan's Uncle Joe had found Dad a job. It was in the same factory where Uncle Joe worked. By Monday, Dad would be reporting for work. Ryan would start his first day at the new school. That meant only one day to unpack and settle into the house Dad had rented from an ad on the internet. Unpacking went quickly. By early afternoon, Ryan was on his way to the park on the next street. He had his basketball under his arm. He found the basketball court. Ryan began to shoot hoops. At least he tried to shoot hoops. He was not very good at making baskets. He counted. He tried 10 times, but he only made 3 baskets. I'm no good at this, Ryan told himself. Just then, a boy out of Ryan's height appeared. The boy started shooting baskets at the other end of the court. Ryan watched in amazement. The boy made layup after layup. Ryan counted. The boy tried 15 times, and he completed 13 layups. The boy stopped and grinned at Ryan. Want to practice with me? Called the boy to Ryan. Sure, answered Ryan. My name's Mason. What's yours? Asked the boy. I'm Ryan. Let's see what you can do, said Mason. Ryan stood back from the basket a few feet and aimed at the ball. It missed completely and landed in the grass behind the hoop. Ryan ran after the ball. He tried again with the same results. Try this, said Mason. When you make a layup, you dribble up to the basket with your right hand. Step toward the basket with your left foot. Use your right hand and rotate the ball a bit with your wrist. Aim for the sweet spot on the backboard. It's just to the right of the square on the backboard. When the ball hits the sweet spot, it drops right through the hoop, like this. Mason demonstrated, and the ball fell through the middle of the hoop. Ryan backed up from the hoop. His eyes were riveted on the sweet spot on the backboard. Ryan followed Mason's instructions. He dribbled toward the hoop. He aimed the ball. He gave a twist with his wrist, and the ball hit the sweet spot perfectly. Sure enough, it dropped right through the opening of the hoop. Ryan grinned from ear to ear. For the next 45 minutes, the boys took turns doing layups. Mason kept coaching Ryan. Ryan got better and better at layups. Soon it was time to go home. Ryan waved goodbye as he left the park. The next morning, Ryan walked slowly through the noisy halls of his new school. He entered his strange new classroom. He wanted to be back at his old school with his friends and sitting at his own desk. He sat at the empty desk his new teacher showed him. She smiled and went back to the front of the room. Within a couple of minutes, she was back. Ryan, I'd like you to meet your new class buddy, Mason. Mason, this is Ryan. Mason said, I already know Ryan, Mrs. Hanson. He's one good basketball player. Ryan thought, maybe this town won't be so bad at all. Directions. Choose the best answer for each question. Number 1. What can you infer about Dad based on the details in the second paragraph? Second paragraph reads, Ryan's mother had died the year before in the car accident. Since that day, Dad didn't talk much. He was always there, but he seemed distant now. To make matters worse, Dad lost his job. The factory where he worked had shut down. So what can you infer about Dad based on paragraph 2, the one I just read? A, Dad is excited to have his son in the car with him. B, Dad is sleepy. C, Dad is feeling very sad. Or D, Dad is annoyed with Ryan. Pause the video if you need more time or rewind if you need to rehear the question. Number 2, which answer choice best describes the setting of the story? A, a new town in Florida. B, a new town in Texas. C, in a new school. Or D, on a football field. Number 3, how does the setting help to develop the plot, events in the story? A, being in an unfamiliar place gave Ryan a reason to need a friend. B, being in a new town gave Ryan a reason to be angry at his father and disobey his rules. C, since it took place on a football field, Ryan was able to learn how to become a star football player. Or D, none of the above show how the setting impacted the plot or the events in the story. Remember, you may pause the video if you need more time or rewind the video to hear the question again. Number 4, what is Ryan's main problem in the story? A, he is bullied by other students at school. B, he and his dad do not get along and fight all the time. C, he feels like he will be lonely in his new town. Or D, he does not know how to play basketball. Number 5, which statement best describes the turning point in the story? Think about the event that helped change Ryan. A, Ryan unpacked his belongings quickly. B, Ryan met a new friend, Mason, at the basketball court. C, Ryan walked through the halls of his new school. D, Ryan sat at an empty desk in his new room. Number 6, what is the genre? Remember, genre would be fiction or nonfiction or based on the story of new friends in new places. A, informational. B, realistic fiction. C, fantasy. Or D, fairy tale. Number 7, which sentence is the best summary for new friends in new places? A, Ryan and his father moved to a new town. B, Ryan and his father learned how to play basketball like professional athletes. C, Ryan feels lonely in a new town until he meets a new friend, Mason. D, Ryan feels lonely in a new town. Number 8, reread paragraph 10. Why does Ryan grin from ear to ear? Ryan backed up from the hoop. His eyes were riveted on the sweet spot on the backboard. Ryan followed Mason's instructions. He dribbled toward the hoop. He aimed the ball. He gave a twist of his wrist. The ball hit the sweet spot perfectly. Sure enough, it dropped right through the opening of the hoop. Ryan grinned from ear to ear. For the next 45 minutes, the boys took turns doing layups. Mason kept coaching Ryan. Ryan got better and better at layups. Soon it was time to go home. Ryan waved goodbye as he left the park. So if we reread paragraph 10, why does Ryan grin from ear to ear? A, he's upset with himself for being such a bad basketball player. B, he feels excited to have a new friend. C, he feels proud of himself for making the perfect shot. Or D, he feels lonely because he misses his mother. Number 9, what can you infer about the new town that Ryan moved to based on the details below? The building needed paint on the outside. He spotted a tower. The name of the tower was peeling from the water tank high in the air. A, I can infer that a lot of rich people live in this town. B, I can infer that this town didn't have much money. C, I can infer that nobody lived in this town. D, none of the above are logical inferences. Number 10, which detail from the story best shows that Mason is a great friend to Ryan? A, he invites Ryan to play with him and he helps Ryan learn how to make a good basketball shot. B, he asked Ryan what his name was. C, he told his teacher that he already knew Ryan. Or D, none of the above are correct. If you need to go back into the story or re-listen to any of these questions or the story, you may rewind the video now. If you are done, you may exit the video and turn your test into the middle basket.